Welcome, I'm Rose Zoltley, and with the holidays already here, I figured it would be the perfect time to show you how to wow your guests with my delicious homemade apple pie. So what do you say? Let's get started.
Now you just can't use any apples when making apple pie. They have to be tart. My favorite are Granny Smith apples. They add the right tartness needed. Also, the tartar the apples, the more likely it is to hold its shape when baking. I'm going to be using 2.5 pounds of apples, which is 5 medium-sized apples. Now, if it makes it easier for you, since apples do come in different sizes, you can always weigh them on your scale. It's 40 ounces for 2.5 pounds. Here I'm weighing in at 41.4, which is also perfectly fine. I'm just slightly over. Before cutting into our apples, we want to make our sauce. So to a saucepan, I'm adding 1 stick of unsalted butter, or 8 tablespoons of unsalted butter. Here I just used half sticks. That's why you saw me put 2 in there. My heat is set at a number 5. Once melted, you want to add 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. You want to whisk until it dissolves. Then we want to add 1/4 cup of water and give it a quick whisk. Add 1/2 cup of light brown sugar and 1/2 cup of regular granulated sugar. You never want to bake a pie by just adding apples into your crust. One of the best secrets to making a delicious apple pie is making sure that you make the sauce to go with it. Before adding the rest, I just want to whisk this real quick, breaking up the sugar. To balance the sweetness, I'm adding just a small pinch of salt. This is kosher salt. 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract will give it a yummy flavor. I'm going to continue whisking for a couple of minutes. I'm also going to turn my heat up a little bit so that it comes almost to a boil. Once it starts bubbling like this, you want to turn your heat down and continue whisking. You want to whisk until you get a caramel-like consistency, but not too thick. At this point, turn off your heat, remove it from the heat, and let it cool off while we work on our apples. Now we're ready to start peeling our apples. You can find links to a lot of the tools I use by going to my description section below. Now that my apples are all peeled, we want to core them and slice them. I'm going to show you a really neat tool that I like to use. It makes things go so much faster. This thing will also peel my apples, but I will say sometimes it leaves a little bit of skin in there, and I needed them completely peeled, so that's why I hand peeled them. All you have to do is pull this handle back. Then you want to slide your apple in. Once it's in, you just want to turn the handle and it'll core and slice your apple at the same time, and also peel it if you wanted to. All you do is cut it in half and you have your slices. If you don't have a tool like this, here's another trick to core your apples. You can use a melon scoop and just scoop the insides out. Then you want to thinly slice them and add them to a bowl. Once sliced, I give them a quick rinse, and then I come back. If I see any large pieces, I'll just break some in half. Now you're ready to add your sauce to your bowl. You will notice it's slightly thicker while it cooled off. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of cinnamon and 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg into a little bowl. Let me go grab a spoon real quick so I can mix it up. Now add it to your filling and give it a mix until it's all well combined. This looks good. Let's set it aside for now. Here's another tool I like to use. This is a silicone mat that will help give you the right measurements for your pies. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of flour on here. I'll always recommend a homemade crust. Buttery, flaky, yum! But that's for another video, guys, so make sure you subscribe. Today I'm going to be using Pillsbury crust dough, which will make it go so much faster. I'm going to be also using my French rolling pin, which I absolutely love. We're going to roll our dough into a slightly larger circle. Pillsbury gives you 2 circles in a box for the top and bottom. You want to roll it out so it fits on your pie dish. It should also slightly hang over the sides of your dish. A typical pie dish measures 9 inches. Mine is slightly bigger at about 10 inches or slightly over. I got it from Target. The bigger the better, right? I'm going to go ahead and post the link in my description section on where you can find one as well. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and roll this just a little bit past my 12-inch so that it'll fit on my pie dish. I'll always recommend a French rolling pin. They're easier to maneuver on your dough and will save you time. To make it easier to lay, roll your dough on your rolling pin, and then let me grab my dish real quick. You're gonna see how easily you could just place it right on top. You wanna just unroll it like this. Now lift the dough and push it in from the sides. Let's go ahead and add our filling. Now don't worry about the pie edges right now. We're going to be working on that a little later. Go ahead and spread it out, but not too tight into the edges because we're going to need a little room later to work on the edges. You may want to flatten it out a little bit on top too. Set this aside so we can work on our top. For my second circle, I don't want to go as far as I did with the first one. I'm just going to roll it out up to 12 inches or as far as that red circle. I'm going to flip it over just to add a little bit of flour on here too and roll it just a little bit. Now using a pizza cutter or knife, you want to cut down the middle. Then start cutting approximately 1-inch strips on each side. Although I ended up cutting more today, I recommend cutting 10 strips. You want to start by placing your center piece on the center down your pie. Then continue to place your strips vertically going outward. Since I ended up adding more strips and I don't want to confuse you, I'm going to stop right here and I'm going to show you a different demonstration on how to create a lattice, and then I'll just fast forward through mine. Okay, first you want to place 5 strips of dough going all the way down vertically. Your first strip should always be down the center and then the rest on the sides, making it a total of 5. Center is here. You're going to take these 2 pieces right beside the center. You're going to lift them up. And now you're going to take a long piece of dough and lay it across right in the center. Then you want to bring those 2 pieces that you lifted back down. Now you're going to take the center ribbon and the 2 end pieces, the pieces way at the end, and you're going to lift these 3 strips up. And you're going to lay another strip going across, and then you're going to bring the 3 strips that you lifted up back down. Now you're going to repeat the same steps to the top. Lift the center piece back and the 2 end pieces as well. Then you add your strip going across. Now bring your pieces you lifted back down. Bottom, we're going to lift the 2 pieces that are right next to your center piece here, like we did way at the beginning. Lift those 2 up and we're going to add the 1 strip going across. Then drop them back down. Do the same to the top. Lift your 2 pieces that are right next to your center. Lay your strip of dough going across and then drop those 2 down. We've got the perfect lattice. Over, under, over, under, over. I know it's strange, but I figured maybe if I used 2 different color ribbons, it would help too. Now let's get back. I have a small extra, so I'm just going to cut it in half and place it on the edge where I think I may need it. After you do your pattern, you want to start folding your edges in. Making a lattice can be a little confusing sometimes, especially when it's been a while since you've made an apple pie, just like me. That's why I wanted to make sure that I showed you a separate demonstration. I didn't want to confuse you with what I was doing. Hopefully that helped. Now from the inside of your pie, you want to take your index finger, push the dough out, then using your other hand and 2 fingers, you want to pinch the dough or your finger, and it's going to create a nice little shape. You want to do this all around your pie, and once you're done, it'll look a lot nicer. Now to make some egg wash, you want to crack 1 egg and whisk your egg. Using a brush, brush your egg wash on the dough completely. This is going to give you a nice golden color when baked. Place in your oven and bake for 15 minutes at 400 degrees. Then we're going to come back and switch the time and temperature. After 15 minutes, I'm going to pull it out for just a bit. Sometimes your pie can over brown on the edges compared to the center, so I like to use this crust shield. You can also use aluminum foil if you like. I'll post the link for this crust shield if you'd like one. If you don't want to put anything on it, that's perfectly fine too. You can see if you like it. Now, after we place this on there, we're going to continue to bake at 350 degrees for another 45 minutes, but I do recommend that you check it around the 30-minute mark because all ovens will vary. 45 minutes later, my pie just came out of the oven and it's bubbling and hot. I know with the pie smelling so good, you're going to be tempted to just dig in, but I ask that you don't do that. You want to let it cool off for at least an hour. This will also give it time for the sauce to thicken up and not be runny. And you won't burn your tongue either. Once you cut your pie, if you're like me, I love to add ice cream on top, make it a la mode, add a little bit of whipped cream, and sprinkle a little bit more cinnamon on top. And so delicious, guys. I really hope you enjoy it. And if you did, please be sure to share with your friends. I really appreciate your support.
If you haven't already subscribed, please be sure to do so below or hit my little picture on the side. Also, don't forget to hit the little bell to get notified of all of my new videos. And please be sure to check out these links on the side. Share with your friends. Thanks for watching and your support.